everyone, my name is Ira Shinhuala, and for this video, I'll be discussing about global migration. So what is global migration? It says here that global migration refers to the movement of people from one place to another, whether across regions, countries, or continents. So with the intention of settling temporarily or permanently in a new location. So first, let me differentiate these four key terms, which are the emigration, immigration, internal migration, and international migration. So let me start with emigration and immigration. So the first one is emigration. So it is the act of leaving your own country to live somewhere else. And the person doing this is called an emigrant. A best example here is when a Filipino leaving Philippines to work in Canada or in other country. So basically, that person who leaves his or her own country is an immigrant. So it says here that this immigration is the act of entering and settling in a foreign country. And the person doing that is called it's called immigrant. In emigration, it is when someone leaves her or his own country. While in here, in immigration, it is when that person who leaves her country enters another country. The act of entering or settling in a new country or other country or a foreign country, it's is called an immigration, and that person is called immigrant. So basically, if the immigration is leaving your own country or your home country, in here in immigration, it is settling in a foreign country. If the immigration is leaving, the immigration is entering a new country. Is it clear? Okay, let me give you an example. So in immigration earlier, we talked about this Filipino person who leaves her country to settle in Canada or in other country. Now here in immigration, that same person who enters this foreign country or that the Canada is now an immigrant, or what she's doing there is called immigration, the act of entering or settling in a new country or a foreign country rather. So is it clear? So now let's move on here in internal and international migration. So in internal migration, it is the movement of people within the same country. So from one region to another, from one city to another city, or from one province to another province. It is the movement within that same country. So the best example in here is when someone from Zamboanga moving to Manila for work or studies. So that is internal migration. So because if even if he or she is moving from one place to another, she's still staying in that same country. So if in internal migration it is the movement of a person from one place to another within the same country, here in international migration, it is a movement of people across national borders. So from one country to another country. So for example, here is a Filipino or OFWs moving from Philippines to work in another countries like for example Saudi Arabia, USA, Singapore, Hong Kong. That is international migration because that particular person is moving across national borders. So to explain it clearly, the internal is within the same country. You're moving within that country, particular country, while in the international migration, it is moving the movement of people across borders or across national borders or from one country to another. So we also have here types of migrants. The first is the economic migrants. So these are people who moves to another place in search of better job opportunities and a higher standard of living. Next one we have the refugees. So these are people who are forced to leave their country because of war, violence, or persecution. Um, in here, in refugees, they live not by choice but out of necessity for them to live peacefully, for them to have a better life. And then we have the asylum seekers. So in here, in asylum seekers, these are people who have left their country and are requesting legal protection in other country. So in here, they are waiting for their refugee status to be officially recognized. So um they're moving from their country to another country to seek legal protection. We also have this internally displaced person or the IDPs. So in here, in internally displaced person, also called as IDPs, these are people who were forced to move but remained within their own country's border. So even though they move from one place to another, they are still in their country borders. And last one here in climate or environmental migrants. These are people who are displaced because of natural disasters. So they are moving from one place to another because of natural disasters such as rising of sea levels or other environmental changes. So we also have here this push and pull factors. So basically, these push factors are the reason that drive people away from their home country. So this is the reason why people want to leave their own country and move to another country. Well, the pull factors are the reason they're attracted to a new destination, or these are the reasons that attract people to a new destinations. So in push factors, we have poverty and unemployment, war and conflict, and natural disasters. So these are the main reason maybe why people want to leave their country. It is because they're seeking for a better life, a better future, and a better or a standard living. While in full factors, we have better job opportunities, political stability, and quality education and healthcare. So now we understand why people wanted to move in this country, because maybe that country have these qualities, and these qualities are what people seeking. So to continue, let me explain the major global migration patterns. So we have here south to north, south to south, and major corridor of migrations. So first we have this south to north migration, or developing to developed countries. So in here, people from countries in the global south or the developing or poorer nations move to countries in the global north or developed or wealthier nations in search of better opportunities. So why does this happen? So based on what I have learned, it happens because of huge gap in wages and living standards between rich and poor countries. So maybe people are moving from their home country to another country, or from developing country to developed country to seek better job markets in developed countries. It can also be they are seeking for quality healthcare and educations, or political stability in northern countries. The best example in here is the Africans moving to Europe, and Filipinos migrating to USA or Australia. So basically, that is from developing countries to developed countries, or from poor nations to wealthier nations. Next one, we have this south to south migration. So in here, people move from one developing countries to another developing countries. So it happens because of the following. First, closer in proximity and cheaper to travel. Second, because of shared language or cultural similarities. We have also the better economic conditions compared to home country. and easier immigration requirements. Best examples of this is which is the Bangladesh migrating to India and Filipino migrating to Malaysia or Singapore, which are um developing countries to developing countries. So lastly, we have the major migration corridors. So migration corridors, by the way, is a specific and well-established route between two countries where large number of people regularly move. So example of here is Mexico to United States, Syria to Europe, and Philippines to worldwide. First, Mexico to United States. So this is one of the largest corridors in the world. Based on what I have searched, millions of Mexicans and Central Americans move to US for better jobs and living conditions. Another example is the Syria to Europe. It is triggered by the Syrian civil war in 2011, wherein millions fled to Turkey, Lebanon, and eventually to Europe, particularly in Germany, Sweden, and Greece. So this became one of the biggest refugee crises in modern history. And of course, the Philippines worldwide. So based on what I have learned, OFWs are present in over 200 countries and territories. Top destinations here is Saudi Arabia, UAE, Hong Kong, USA, Canada, Singapore, Japan. So it is driven by the government labor export policy and look of local job opportunities. So lastly, we have here the effect of migration. So we have effect of migration in origin countries and on host countries. So first, in origin countries or countries where people are living, the effect it may cause is brain drain, remittances, and family separations. In brain drain or loss of skilled and educated workers, remittances wherein the money migrants sent back to their family, and of course family separation. So this family separations is often happens when a Filipino OFW is moving to another place to look for a job or for better job for standard living. So basically, they will be separated from their family if they do that. And of course, in on-host countries, the effect it may cause is labor growth, cultural diversity, and strain on public services. So that will be all for the global migrations. Once again, my name is Ira Shinda Los Reyes Huela, and I hope you understand and learn something from it. Thank you.